If I could ask everyone to take their seats so that we can start in just a few moments, please. Thank you. Good evening, Council. I'd like to start by welcoming the Mayor, all members, and our guests to East Ham Town Hall for our first ordinary meeting of Council this municipal year. I'd like to welcome the members of the public and press who are physically attending or watching on YouTube. This meeting is being filmed for broadcast on YouTube, so please note the cameras are focused on everyone within the meeting. I'd like to take this opportunity to remind the public that to enable the Council to conduct its business, if there are interruptions at today's meeting, I will ask the individual or individuals to stop and give a warning. If this continues, I will give a second and final warning. Should this disruption continue, I will have to ask security to remove the person or group from the Council chamber and will adjourn the meeting. Members of the Council, please can I ask that you indicate when you wish to speak by raising your physical hand. I'd like to advise members, in order to comply with the allocated time for speakers, if you go beyond your allotted time, you will be automatically muted. Please can I ask members and officers to introduce themselves when speaking, and I would like to ask that everyone turns their mobile phones to silent mode. The member attendance book will be circulated to you during this meeting, so please ensure you sign in. And also please note that water is available during this meeting due to high temperature within the main hall this evening. We're not expecting a fire drill this evening, so if the alarm sounds, please remain calm and follow the instructions of the Town Hall staff. The fire assembly point is the side entrance to the Town Hall, and fire exits are located at both sides of the stage. I'm now moving to item 1, apologies for absence. I've received apologies for absence for this evening's meeting from Councillor Susan Masters. Are there any other absences to be recorded? Councillor Oli Rahman and Councillor Begum Sahara. Are there any other apologies to be noted for this evening's meeting? Thank you. That's noted. I'm now moving to item 2, declarations of interest. Are there any members wishing to declare any disclosable pecuniary interests or any other interests they may have in any matter which is to be considered at this meeting? No. Moving on. I'm now moving to item 3, minutes of the annual council meeting. These are the minutes of the annual council held on the 20th of May 2026. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Dasgupta to second. All those in favour, please raise your hand. Thank you, council. All those against, please raise your hand. And are there any abstentions? The minutes have been agreed unanimously. Thank you, Council. I'm now moving to item 4, deputations. There have been no requests accepted for deputations to this meeting of the Council. Item 5, appointment of the Chief Executive and Head of Paid Service. So I now move to item 5. The report is outlined from page 21 of the agenda and has been placed higher on the agenda to ensure a decision is reached at the start of this meeting. I call on Mayor Farhad Hussain as Chair of the Appointments Committee to move the report. Mayor, you have up to 5 minutes.
Chair, before we move to this item, I would like to take a moment to thank Paul Martin for his outstanding service to Newham as our interim chief exec. Can we give him a round of applause, please? I'm sure everyone agrees Paul has provided calm, steady, and professional leadership during a significant period of change for the council. It hasn't been easy. But over the past year, and particularly during the recent transition to the new administration, he has demonstrated integrity, sound judgment, and an unwavering commitment to public service and to our Newham residents. On behalf of the council, I would like to thank Paul for everything he has done for Newham and wish him every success for the future.
Thank you, Mayor.
Don't be a stranger. Can we have another round of applause, please? Now, I'm also really pleased to welcome Maria Christopher as our recommended Chief Executive, subject to the approval of full council this evening. Just to highlight, Maria brings over 25 years of local government experience, a proven track record of leadership and transformation, and has already made a significant contribution to Newham through her work as Interim Assistant Chief Exec and Corporate Director of Resources. I look forward to working closely with Maria and to continue to deliver our ambitions for Newham, strengthening our partnerships and providing very best services for our residents. Thank you. I'm delighted to move this item.
Thank you, Mayor. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Mahmood Mirza to second. Would you like to speak? You have up to 3 minutes.
Oh, I not prepared the speech, but thank you very much, Paul Martin, for his service to London Borough of Newham, and I formally second Maria for Chief Executive post tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Mirza. We now move to the debate on this item. Would any member like to speak for up to 3 minutes? That's no one. So we'll now move to the vote on this report. Can all those in favour of the report please raise your hands? This is for the appointment of the Chief Executive. Thank you. Can all those against please raise your hands? That's 0. And are there any abstentions? That's also 0. So the report Oh, apologies. Sorry, Councillor. There is 1 abstention from Councillor Keeling. So the report's recommendations have been agreed with 1 abstention. Thank you, Council. I'm now moving on to item 6, petitions. Are there any petitions from members wishing to present petitions at this meeting? That's none. I'm now moving to item 7, questions by the public. Yes, Councillor Naqvi, you have a point of order? Is this in relation to questions by the public? Yeah. Okay, thank you.
A number of residents felt they did not receive clear information and adequate answers to the questions they raised. As a result, many questions were not submitted for today's meeting. Also, could the wordings in the Constitution also be reviewed to ensure it's clear and ambiguous? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. So the council procedure rules are under review, kept under review by the Audit and Governance Committee. That's a decision that this council took in the previous term to ask the Audit and Governance Committee to keep those under review. And so it would be for that committee to consider any changes, and the monitoring officer also keeps the council procedural rules under review. I'm sure she's heard the point that's been made, but I'm not sure that there's anything further to say on that matter at the moment. So thank you for your point of order, Councillor Naqvi. We're now moving on to questions by the public. There are 5 questions that have been accepted. All 5 of these are for Councillor Susan Masters, who's not present to answer them, but the written answers have been published in the agenda. And I don't believe the 5 members who have asked the questions have indicated that they'd like to ask them in person. So in that case, we'll move on to the next item, which is announcements by the chair. So this is our first meeting of full council since I was elected as chair, and I wanted to let members know about the events that I've had the privilege of attending since being elected as chair. But just before doing that, I'd like to offer some reflections on some recent events. So recently, 3 people have lost their lives following 2 collisions on Newham Way. 2 young men died at the first incident in June, with 3 others being taken to hospital. And just a few days ago, another man has died following a collision on the same road. And we've seen another serious collision on Green Street as well. So I wanted to offer the thoughts of everyone at Newham to all those affected. But I also just wanted to say that deaths and serious injuries on our roads are not inevitable, and we must not treat them as though that they are. We have an ambitious Vision Zero goal to eliminate all deaths and serious injuries by 2041, and it's vital that we all support the work needed to achieve that. I also just wanted to say that we know that many people have been struggling with the significant heat waves that we're experiencing. We know that climate change is not an abstract threat belonging to some distant future. Its consequences are already being felt in our borough, and I just wanted to encourage everyone to really take this time to check in with our neighbours, our friends and our relatives who may be particularly vulnerable, and to make sure that they're taking care to stay cool and hydrated. And I wanted to offer our thanks to the London Fire Brigade and British Transport Police who responded to the recent fire at Stratford Station. I know that was very disruptive. It was quite serious. It could have been significantly more serious if not for the work of those who responded. In happier news, I'm sure many members have been wishing the Three Lions well as they progress through the World Cup. People who know me might be wondering why I'm mentioning the football. But I just wanted to send our congratulations particularly to Ezra Konsa, who was born in Newham, attended Cumberland Sports College in Plaistow, and has made his World Cup debut for England during this tournament. It's a proud moment for him. It's definitely a proud moment for him, but it's also a proud moment for his family and for everyone in the borough. England will now play Argentina in the semi-final, and the whole team has our full support. Newham has also recently held elections, not the elections that you're thinking about, the elections for the UK Youth Parliament. And I'd like to take a moment for us all to congratulate Samara and Gusarej, who have been elected to represent Newham and are both here this evening. Can we give them a round of applause? Come on, if you want to stand up. We know young people in Newham have never been afraid to speak up and challenge those in powers and lead change themselves. And I hope we all listen seriously to what they both have to say. I'm sure we wish them all well, wish them every success in representing their peers. So congratulations. Turning to some recent engagements, I promise I'm nearly done. I attended the London Mayors Association annual induction day on the 6th of June, hosted by Mayor Karen Scarborough at Westminster City Hall. Thank you to her for inviting me and Joe. I also had the privilege of attending and speaking at Newham Green Fair on the 7th of June and speaking alongside Councillor Kelly Drake. We spoke about the importance of recognizing the power we all have in our communities and about the responsibility to do so sustainably so that we can all look after each other, because we can't look after each other unless we're looking after ourselves. Last weekend, I was proud to join Newham's first official march at Pride in London alongside the Vice Chair, Councillor Rohit Dasgupta, our new incoming Chief Executive, Maria Christofi, and other councillors and officers. Our presence was not symbolic. LGBTIQA plus people are facing increasingly hostile rhetoric and renewed attacks on our community, on our rights and our dignity. Progress is not inevitable, and at present too much of it is moving in the wrong direction. It meant a great deal to me to see Newham residents lining the route and cheering their borough on, but I was also struck by how surprised so many of those residents were to see their borough at the march. And that should never happen again. I want to see this become an annual tradition. So thank you to all officers and all members who attended. I'm sure we'll see it grow more and more in the future. And finally, this last weekend, I was honoured to attend and speak at the 50-year Golden Jubilee celebrations at the London Sri Murugan Temple in Little Ilford. Thank you to Councillor Arshan Bhaskaran for the invitation. Newham is celebrating South Asian Heritage Month this month of July, celebrating the rich history and diversity of South Asian people who have made Newham their home. The theme, Unity in Diversity, the theme is Unity in Diversity with a vibrant series of free cultural events across Newham. So please look at our website and join us if you can at one of the many events this month. And finally, the community is invited to enjoy summer evenings at Queen's Square. This includes outdoor dining set against a backdrop of music and performances from talented musicians across Newham and East London. and details are found on Newham's website. So I'll now ask the Vice Chair of Council, Councillor Rohit Dasgupta, to provide any further announcement and updates on his public engagements for up to 4 minutes.
Thank you, Chair, fellow councillors and Mayor. Serving as your Deputy Chair of this Council and supporting our new administration under Mayor Farhad Hussain and our new Chair, Nate Higgins, has been great. So thank you very much. It has allowed me to continue spending time with people across this borough and witness the extraordinary energy and generosity that exists in every part of Newham. And also huge congratulations to our 2 new young youth parliamentarians, Samara and Gursahej. So thank you and well done again from our team. Over the past couple of months, I've had the pleasure of attending over 10 borough-wide events: Comic-Con, Music is Black at East Bank, the No Kador charity boat race, London's first Macau Dragon boat race, the Forest Gate Pride Festival, the Forest Gate Community Garden event, and the opening of a new community garden in Canning Town, which has come all the way from the Chelsea Flower Show. The Forest Gate Festival and Keir Hardie Primary School Summer Fair, where I'm also a school governor. And these aren't just diary entries, Chair. These are reminders that our borough is built every day by its volunteers, its activists, its teachers, its faith groups, and neighbors, all of who celebrate what is this beautiful, diverse borough. They're a living proof of what solidarity actually looks like in practice. But one of the proudest moments for me this year was marching with Newham's first ever block at London Pride. It sent a simple message that this borough does not merely tolerate diversity, we celebrate it, defend it, and fight for it. And in 2026, that struggle isn't still over. Today, trans people have become the latest target in a politics that seeks to divide rather than unite. And I say this not only as a politician, but also as an academic who has researched and published extensively in this area. And also, there are people in this room who know much more than me about this, given their own lived experience. But I'm also a Labour councillor. And so it will not be controversial for me to say that the Labour movement has always been at its strongest when it has stood with those pushed to the margins. We don't abandon people because defending them is difficult. We stand beside them because it is the right thing to do. As a socialist will say, an injury to one is an injury to all. A politics of solidarity over scapegoating, a politics that understands that our diversity is not a weakness to be managed, but rather it is one of collective strength. And so long may Newham continue to show what that solidarity looks like in practice, and I look forward to continuing to work with yourself and with the Mayor and with the team over here in my civic capacity to celebrate this beautiful borough over the coming year. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor. So with that, I'm now moving on to item 9, announcements by the Mayor Farhad Hussain. Mayor, you have up to 10 minutes.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the meeting of Full Council. Thank you to everyone joining us this evening, whether you are here in person or watching online. It is a real privilege and a great honour to stand here before you as the Executive Mayor of Newham. And as you know, this borough is my home. This borough made me, it shaped who I am, it gave me the opportunities, and it gave my family hope. And now standing here as your mayor, it's my chance to give something back. To repay the trust that local people have placed in me. To serve this borough with humility. To work hard every single day. And to make Newham better for everyone who calls our borough home. Because Newham is not just where I live, it's part of who I am. Now, I want to thank every councillor in this chamber, whatever political party you represent, whatever your political views are, thank you for choosing to serve this borough. Public service is not always easy. It requires commitment, patience, resilience, and a willingness to put local people first. Of course, we will disagree. That is democracy. Healthy debate is important. Different views challenge us. They test our thinking. And ultimately, they help us make better decisions. But while we may sit on different sides of the chamber, we share something important, a shared responsibility, and to improve the lives of the people we represent. None of us were elected simply to score political points. We were elected to make a difference. Our words matter, but our actions matter more. Social media has its place. Political debate has its place, but neither cleans a street, neither builds a home, neither supports a vulnerable person, and neither makes someone feel safer walking home at night. Actions are what matters. So tonight, whatever our differences, let us remember what unites us. We all want a Newham that is cleaner, safer, fairer, and more prosperous. And we all have a responsibility to work together wherever we can to build a Newham that local people are proud to call home. Now, before we begin our business this evening, I want to speak about something that weighs heavily in the hearts of many across our borough. Newham is one of the most diverse boroughs in the country. Our communities have deep connections across the world. For many people in the borough, the conflict in the Middle East is not distant. It's deeply personal. The horrific terrorist attacks of 7 October 23, the devastating loss of life that followed, and the ongoing atrocities in Gaza have deeply affected many people in our borough. We stand in solidarity with our communities, united in our call for an end to the death and destruction. International law must be upheld. Human rights must be protected. And we absolutely condemn attacks on civilians. There can never be any justification for collective punishment or for denying people access to basic necessities of life, including food, water, and humanitarian aid. While we welcome the government's recognition of the State of Palestine, and I'm proud of that, and I'm looking forward to celebrating the anniversary and raising the Palestinian flag and inviting the ambassador, and we'll celebrate that together. And I support the enduring commitment to a two-state solution, but more must be done. There must be an end to the genocide in Gaza. An immediate and permanent ceasefire, the unrestricted delivery of humanitarian aid, and meaningful efforts to secure a just and peaceful future for everyone in the region, because every civilian life has equal value, and every family deserves the chance to live in peace. The importance of standing together, of rejecting hatred, and of protecting every member of our community is not only a challenge overseas, it's our responsibility here in Newham too. Last week, this borough was threatened by a far-right protest, an attempt to divide our communities, to spread hatred, and to intimidate the people who live, work, and worship here. But that protest did not happen, and it did not happen because Newham stood together. To send a simple message, hatred does not have a home here. But we must never become complacent. Division does not always arrive with banners. Sometimes it comes as a whisper, a rumor, and sometimes an outright lie designed to turn neighbor against neighbor. We must always stand against hatred, wherever it comes from and whoever it targets, because Newham's diversity is not our weakness, it's our greatest strength. This borough was built on people coming together from every background, every faith, every culture, living side by side, supporting one another, building a future together. That is the Newham I know, that's the Newham we know, and that is the Newham we must protect. Now, I've only been in office for a matter of months, but it does feel like it's years. But in Newham, there is no time to waste. There is work to be done, promises to keep, and challenges to face. So together, with my cabinet, we have been getting on with the job. We are taking action on restoring pride in our local neighbourhoods, tackling fly tipping and increasing fines to £1,000 for those who blight our communities, launching action days to improve the places where local people live, work and raise their families, and committing to £12 million over the next 4 years to transform our streets, making them cleaner, safer and better for everyone. We are also building the homes Newham needs, breaking ground on 350 new homes in North Woolwich. And get this, and securing an additional £100 million for development in Silvertown, creating opportunities for the future. We are making Newham safer, working with police to tackle antisocial behaviour, continuing investment in our CCTV, and making ending violence against women and girls one of our highest priorities. Because every woman, every girl deserves to feel safe on our streets. And just days ago, thousands of local people came together for the much-loved and much-missed Under the Stars Festival in the Royal Docks, a celebration of everything that makes Newham special, our culture, our talent, our diversity, and our community spirit. It reminded us of all something important. Newham has incredible people, incredible creativity, and an incredible potential. These are still early days of this administration, but we have set a clear direction. We are listening, we are taking action, and we are determined to deliver the change local people voted for together. As Mayor, I believe public service is a great privilege. Every councillor in this chamber, whatever party we represent, has a responsibility to the people of Newham. That is a responsibility we should never take lightly. Local people may not hear every speech we make. They may not watch every council meeting. They may not follow every political disagreement. But they will know if their streets are clean, if they feel safe walking home at night, if they have a decent home to return to, and if they felt listened to, and ultimately, most importantly, if they feel the council is on their side. That is the standard we must meet every day with every decision we make. And as Mayor, I will always listen. I will work with anyone who wants to make Newham better. And I will always put local people first. So let us debate with passion, but also with respect. Let us challenge each other when necessary, but let us work together whenever we can, because ultimately we are here for one reason: to serve the people of Newham. The direction is clear. The team is ready, and together we will build a cleaner, safer, fairer and more united Newham. A Newham where every person has the opportunity to succeed. A Newham where every community feels valued. And a Newham we can all be proud to call home. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm now moving on to item 10, updates from Cabinet members. Any member of the Cabinet who wishes to update the Council will be allowed to speak, but there will be no debate or questions allowed. Does any member of the Cabinet wish to speak for up to 3 minutes? I've got Councillor Ali, Councillor Gray, and Councillor Shah. Who's going first? Councillor Ali. You have up to 3 minutes.
Thank you, Chair, councillors, residents, members of the public listening online. Can I first of all thank our outgoing Section 151 officer, Maria Christophe, for the great work that she's done over the last 6 to 8 months since she's been with us in this role. And I must say that she has done a tremendous amount of work, and the fact that we now have a balanced budget for the next 3 years, I think it's largely due to the hard work of Maria and her team, obviously guided by Paul Martin, who is leaving us shortly. So I really congratulate Maria on her appointment. So colleagues, local government is going through a very difficult time financially. But I'm sure you've seen the budget papers previously. We now have a 5-year medium-term strategy, 3-year balanced budget. Last year's budget was balanced. This year's currently period 2. We are forecasting a good progress so far. There's a long way to go, but we have to work very hard. We have many challenges. And as you know, a lot of councils are actually going for exceptional financial support from the government. We are no longer in need of financial support because we have managed, because we worked hard, we manage our resources better, we have good financial discipline, we have hard-working officers and members who are working collectively to make sure that every penny we spend is spent wisely for the benefit of the residents. But times are challenging. We are not alone in the current situation we are facing. The children's services, adult social care, these are demand-led services, and costs are rising. And these are national issues which haven't been addressed for many, many years. So we are facing major challenges, but we are determined that under the leadership of new Chief Executive from 1st of August and the entire corporate management team and the Mayor, indeed, along with the Cabinet colleagues and all of you as a councillor, as the Mayor said earlier, ultimately it's us individually, irrespective of what our political colours are, we are here to represent the local residents, and that's what we should be doing. And I think the answer is to make sure that we work collaboratively, collectively, for the best interest of residents, irrespective of our own political colours, or if you want to say ambitions, or the drive. But I think the important thing is we are here for the residents. We will serve them to the best we can. But there are major financial challenges, and I'm really grateful that Overview Scrutiny is working collectively along with my colleagues, and I do hear that there's been good collaboration going on already in terms of the joint working.
Councillor Ali.
So we'll carry on, and thank you very much, Chair, for allowing me some time. There's 20 seconds left, but I'll give away. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor John Gray, you have up to 3 minutes.
Yeah, thank you, Chair, Mayor, councillors and residents. Yeah, Councillor John Gray, Cabinet Member for Housing. I'm pleased to provide members with a brief update on the progress being made within the Housing Department as we continue our improvement journey and commitment to delivering better outcomes for residents. Members will be aware that in October 2024, the Regulator of Social Housing issued Newham Council with what is called a C4 Customer Standard Judgment, identifying serious failings and requiring fundamental improvements across housing services. In response, we launched our Houses and Service Improvement Programme and have worked at pace to address the issues identified by the regulator. While there remains much to do, I'm pleased to report that significant progress has been made. I've now met with the regulator on 2 occasions. Those meetings have been certainly robust, but constructive, and we remain focused on delivering the improvements required. A significant milestone was reached recently when Newham entered into what was called a voluntary undertaking with the regulator of social housing. This formal agreement demonstrates our commitment to achieving compliance and delivering lasting improvements for residents. We have strengthened safety compliance, improved oversight of repair and housing standards, and increased transparency and accountability across the service. I'm also pleased to highlight our work on diverse needs and inclusion through consultation on a new diverse needs strategy and an expanded tenancy audit programme. We are improving our understanding of resident needs and ensuring support reaches those most in need of it. Meanwhile, members will also be aware of the continual temporary accommodation crisis driven by a rise in homelessness and a shortage of affordable homes. I'm pleased to announce that there has been a significant reduction in costs, but we recognise that further work is needed. Further work is needed to manage these pressures. At the same time, we're monitoring the impact of the forthcoming renter rights reforms. While it's brilliant that we have stronger tenant protections, we must be mindful of potential impacts on housing supply and homelessness service. Finally, resident involvement has increased significantly for the establishment of a resident challenge board and co-produced resident engagement strategy. I would like to thank officers, residents and members for their continued commitment and support as we continue this important work. Together with my colleague, Deputy Cabinet Member for Housing, Councillor Tony Wilson, I look forward to providing further updates in the months ahead. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Shah. Thank you. You have up to 3 minutes.
Chair, Mayor, and fellow councillors.
Sorry,
The
could
mic
we?
is not working.
Yeah, could someone help Councillor Shah with the microphone, please? Could we start Councillor Shah's time again, please? Thank you, Councillor. You have up to 3 minutes.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, Mayor, and fellow councillors. Firstly, Paul, you were a breath of fresh air to Newham. Your energy calmed all of us in Newham, and thank you for your service. This is a joint update from the Education, Children and Communities portfolio from myself and Deputy Cabinet colleagues, Councillor Huck and Ferdoz. Since taking on this role, one of our priorities has been to build strong relationships and establish a new way of working based on partnership, openness, and collaboration. We were delighted to invite Newham's head teachers to Dockside for an informal discussion. It was an opportunity to listen to them, understand their priorities and challenges, and make it clear that this administration wants to work alongside our schools as valued partners. I believe this marks a new beginning in strengthening our relationship with school leaders. We also attended our first SEND Executive Board meeting. Our focus was to gain a deeper understanding of the challenges facing children and families with special educational needs and disabilities, and to work with officers and partners to improve outcomes, ensuring that every child receives the support they deserve. Following the Mayor's visit to the University of East London to meet with the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Roderick, I welcome professors and senior officers to Dockside to explore how Newham Council and the university can work together on a range of projects. This partnership has enormous potential to benefit our residents through research, education, innovation, and community development. Our communities portfolio has had an extremely busy and positive start. June was Pride Month, and many events took place across the boroughs celebrating our LGBTQ+ communities. I was privileged to attend the Forest Gate Pride event, which
30
was
seconds, Councillor.
a wonderful celebration of inclusion, equality, and community spirit. Finally, the Mayor supported a large public screen for residents to enjoy the football together. I've seen some of our councillors in this chamber enjoying the match, and TikTok has certainly been buzzing with your football clips. Councillor Khan, I've seen your clip, it was great. Football brings people together and crosses all boundaries. England has reached the semi-finals, so let us take this
thank you,
opportunity
Councillor.
to
I'm
wish
afraid you're out of
England team
time.
very success.
Thank you, Councillor.
Thank you.
I'm now moving to item 11, announcements by the Interim Chief Executive, Paul Martin. Speak for up to, it says here 2 minutes, but I think you have longer than that if you want.
Well, thank you very much, Chair. And could I start, as it is my final meeting, as you've heard, by thanking the Mayor for your extremely generous comments, and also to other councillors who spoke, and to the whole of the council for your support. And I'd also like to thank your predecessors in this chamber for appointing me as your interim chief executive a year ago, and for what's been an extraordinary privilege and a pleasure for me to serve as Newham Council's Chief Executive. It's been a wonderful experience for me, and I've enjoyed every moment of it. So thank you, all of you, for appointing me and for your support over the last year. And I know that you will give that same support to my successor, Maria Christofi. One of the reasons that I'm so optimistic about Newham Council's future is that I think that in the Mayor and in Maria, Newham has got leaders who recognise that no single person can achieve anything in local government. And the reason that the council has made, I think, some significant progress over the last year is because we've worked as a team much better, I think. You know, no individual person can achieve anything at all here. It does require teamwork, and I do believe that the council understands that, and indeed it's come through many of the contributions that I've already heard this evening. So thank you for the opportunity to serve here, but it is on a sort of rather sadder note that I need to add a few words, still about teamwork, and that is to take a moment to commemorate the life and service of one of our senior officers, Natasha Abankwa, who has recently passed away. I know that there are members in this chamber who knew Natasha well and for some considerable amount of time. And if I may, Chair, I'd like to share with you something about Natasha's life and her service to Newham. Natasha was born and raised in Newham and joined the Council's Resident Engagement and Participation Service in 2024 as Senior Neighbourhood Officer for Plaistow. She brought with her extensive experience in community development through her work with a local sports charity and a lifelong commitment to supporting and empowering young people. Natasha's impact extended far beyond the borough. She played a key role in delivering youth-led services in partnership with Arsenal Football Club. Yeah, Arsenal Football Club. And helped establish helped establish community projects in both Switzerland and Ghana. Whether working locally or internationally, she was driven by a deep passion for helping communities thrive and creating opportunities for others to succeed. During her time with Newham Council, Natasha earned the respect and admiration of colleagues, residents and community groups alike. She was known for her warmth, enthusiasm and commitment to helping others, whether supporting community organisations to secure funding, assisting with risk assessments, organising litter picking initiatives or helping to deliver community-led festivals and events. Natasha approached every task with dedication, professionalism and care. Natasha also possessed a remarkable creative talent for producing animations and promotional material for the Plaistow team. This helped to bring community initiatives to life and amplify the voices of local residents. The Council is dependent upon your officers, and particularly officers like Natasha, and so on your behalf I would like to extend our sincere condolences to Natasha's family, friends and colleagues, and our thoughts remain with them during this difficult time. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Paul, and I'm sure we all share those thoughts. And now move on to item 12, the overview and scrutiny programme and future Commission's report. Councillor Sophia Naqvi's update report is outlined from page 27 of the agenda. Councillor Naqvi, you have up to 5 minutes to present your report, followed by 5 minutes in total for questions.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Chair, fellow members, and residents of Newham. People often think that the most important work in local government happens when decisions are made. But I believe that something just as important happens before, during, and after those decisions. That work is scrutiny. Scrutiny is not about saying no or scoring political points. It is about asking the right questions, examining evidence, and ensuring that decisions are made in the best interest of our residents. Every Newham family wants safe and welcoming neighbourhoods. Every young person deserves opportunities to succeed. Every older resident deserves dignity and support. Whatever our political views, these are goals we all share. Scrutiny helps make sure that the decisions we take move us closer to those goals. Following the local elections and the new political composition of the Council, scrutiny here at Newham Council has entered an important new chapter. We have taken the opportunity to reflect on how scrutiny operates and how it can be strengthened for the future. Through the establishment of the Scrutiny Review Working Group, led by Councillor Young, we are examining how scrutiny can evolve to meet the needs of changing council while remaining focused on outcomes for our residents. I am especially proud that scrutiny amplifies the voices of residents and gives a platform to those who are not always heard. It creates space for residents, community organisations, partners to share their experiences. When we listen carefully, we learn. And when we learn, we govern better. The strongest council are not those that never make mistakes. They are those that are willing to reflect, learn, and improve. As Newham continues the journey of governance improvement, scrutiny has an essential role in promoting transparency, accountability, continuous improvement. Since our first meeting on 6th of July, the Overview and Scrutiny Committee has already begun undertaking pre-decision scrutiny on matters of strategic importance to the borough. The committee considered the Council's proposed parking review. We asked questions, we made recommendations aimed at strengthening the review and ensuring that it is transparent, evidence-led and resident-focused. The committee recommended greater clarity regarding the treatment of manifesto commitments, governance arrangement and delegated decision-making, together with a clearer distinction between the parking review itself and any related manifesto pledges. It also recommended that the review to be renamed to reflect its wider impact on all residents, including those who do not own a car. Scrutiny members also place a strong emphasis on meaningful engagement with residents, ward councillors, businesses, young people, community organisations and faith groups. The committee further recommended that the Cabinet strengthen the review's evidence base, provide greater transparency regarding financial implications, and ensure that the issues such as pavement parking, drop curbs are fully considered. These recommendations reflect on what scrutiny does at its best, providing constructive challenge, testing the evidence, and ensuring that resident voices remain at the heart of decision-making. As a woman in public service and Newham Council's first female chair of Overview and Scrutiny, I know that asking questions is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of commitment. Progress has always depended on people who are prepared to ask, can we do better? That same spirit guides our scrutiny work here. I want scrutiny to be fair, open, inclusive, and focused on outcomes. As chair, I want every member, regardless of political affiliation, to feel able to contribute, challenge, and work together in the interest of residents. Tonight, I invite every councillor, officer, and resident to see scrutiny not as a barrier, but as an opportunity to learn, improve, and strengthen confidence in our democratic service. Because when scrutiny is constructive, fearless, respectful, everyone benefits, and Newham becomes stronger borough for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. We now have up to 5 minutes for questions for the Chair of Overview and Scrutiny. Are there any questions? I'm going to take just everyone who would like to ask a question now, just so I know how many there are. I've got Councillor Blossom Young. Is there any other questions? Okay, Councillor Blossom Young, if you'd like to ask your question.
Thank you, Chair. I, in part, want to support this update and reflect on why this work matters for how the Council governs. And I also want to congratulate Councillor Naqvi on her election as the first female chair of Overview and Scrutiny. Scrutiny is not a position for its own sake. Done well, it is a constructive, critical friend to the administration, testing decisions before they're made, asking difficult questions on residents' behalf, and helping Cabinet arrive at better outcomes. It's a vital part of good governance, particularly when residents rightly expect transparency and rigour. We saw that in practice on the 6th of July, when the Overview and Scrutiny Committee undertook pre-decision scrutiny of the parking strategy ahead of Cabinet's meeting this month. That is scrutiny working as it should, and I trust that the Mayor and Cabinet are giving its recommendations proper consideration. This new municipal year gives us a genuine opportunity to reset the relationship between scrutiny and the administration, not to weaken scrutiny, but to make it sharper and make it more effective. And that's the task that I've taken on as chair of the Scrutiny Review Working Group, working alongside Councillor Naqvi, the other scrutiny chairs, and the administration. And this work has already begun, and we'll report interim findings in the autumn, completing our review by spring next year.
Thank you, Councillor. Do you have a question?
I do. My question is, does the Chair of Overview and Scrutiny agree with me about the role of scrutiny being crucial for good governance? I'd also like to ask the Mayor, actually, to confirm his support for the work of the Scrutiny Review Group in providing a constructive, critical friend role in order to achieve the best outcomes for residents.
Thank you, Councillor. These are questions to the Chair of Overview and Scrutiny. We have questions for the administration later on the agenda, but Councillor Naqvi, if you'd like to respond to the question.
As I said in my speech, that we are a new dynamic now. We are here, different groups, but we all represent one thing, the residents, and that's what comes in the forefront. So we're all here to work for the residents. We're going to put that first. It's not about political scoring, it's about good scrutiny. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Are there any other questions? Are there any other questions for Councillor Naqvi? In that case, we will move on. So I'm now moving on to item 13, updates from new and partners. I can confirm we have no partner updates for this meeting, which means I'm moving on to item 4, members' questions, which are under Rule 12 of Part 4 of the Constitution. Oh, Councillor Naqvi, do you have a... yes, I'll take your point of order.
We were given our replies at 6:34, which is 26 minutes before the full council meeting. It's not fair for the members and even the public to get the answers this late. We are a new administration, so let's make a change and not be the same administration as before, and give enough time to our members to come to the speaker.
Thank you, Councillor Naqvi. As I'm sure she'll know, I have no role in when the answers are published. I'm glad that they are published, and she'll know that I've made effectively the same point of order in the past, so I'm sure the Mayor will have heard it and hope that we can get our answers sooner in the next meeting. So I can inform the Chamber there are 30 questions that have been received and accepted by the Chief Executive, and they have now been published in a supplementary agenda. This is a record-breaking number of questions, so in the interest of time, because I'm sure many members will want to get to their supplementary question, each member has the right to say that their question is as published rather than reading out the question and having the answer read out, and we can go straight on to supplementary questions. You don't have to do that, but it will save us some time. I'd also like to flag that a number of these questions have been allocated to Councillor Susan Masters, the Cabinet Member for Adult Health and Environment, who has sent her apologies. Because of that, she's not here to read out the answer to your question, and therefore we can't take supplementary questions either. You may still read out the question. And I'd just like to flag, given the time pressure, it's unlikely that we will get through all of these questions. We will do our best, and I can only apologize if we don't get to your question. But if we all behave, then we might be able to get through as many of them as possible. So with that, I'll move to the questions. The first question is actually in my name, so I'm just taking that as published, so we don't need the answer read out. Councillor, we'll move on to question 2. Councillor Joe Hudson-Small, would you like to read your question out?
Thank you, Chair. Given the gravity of the topic I want to ask about today, I'm going to ask the question out loud and then my supplementary question as well. But I do, of course, concur with Councillor Naqvi that the timing of the answers to those questions is far too late. Thank you. The Mayor of London has committed to Vision Zero, an international strategy to achieve or aim to achieve 0 annual road deaths or major injuries through the application of new safety standards. Unfortunately, within Newham, the mismanagement of road traffic will be a major barrier to London as a whole achieving that goal. Within Newham, in recent years, we've seen several collisions, which sadly have led to a number of major injuries, the death of a young 14-year-old girl, and since submitting this question, we've seen 3 more deaths last month within Newham. As we know from experts in the industry, collisions are not accidents. We can reduce them with good road design and with good policy. Green Street is a collision hotspot with heavy foot traffic, shops, markets, tube stations and schools. Through traffic is mixed with local traffic and parked cars obstruct visibility. So the question is, will the administration commit to pilot a redesign of Green Street that prioritises resident safety over the convenience of drivers? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. The answer is as published, as Councillor Susan Masters is not here. We'll move on to question 3, Councillor John Morris.
Before we move on, am I able to ask a supplementary question?
You cannot, I'm afraid, as Councillor Masters isn't here to answer it.
Thank you.
Councillor John Morris.
Thank you, Chair. The UK government's road safety strategy recognised that larger vehicles, particularly SUVs, with increased bonnet heights pose a detrimental safety risk to pedestrians, cyclists and children. It explicitly cites Cardiff's decision to charge SUVs at a higher parking fee as a precedent introduced for safety environmental reasons. The Mayor of London's Vision Zero Action Plan 2 goes further, committing to use existing powers to address oversized vehicles. Sorry, just catch your mind. To tackle oversized vehicles, introduced an SUV surcharge on parking permits and charges to protect pedestrians, cyclists and children in our borough. So my question is, will we introduce a surcharge for SUVs?
Thank you, Councillor. As Councillor Susan Masters is not here, the answer is as published.
Thank you, Chair.
Councillor Rohit Dasgupta for question 4.
Thank you so much, Chair. So my question is to the Mayor. I have been contacted repeatedly by residents regarding the hand car wash on Caxton Street North, which continues to operate outside what were previously restricted hours, causing significant and ongoing noise disturbance to nearby homes. Despite extensive evidence submitted over several months, the planning enforcement team has concluded that due to the passage of time, the original planning condition limiting operating hours is no longer enforceable, and the case has been closed. The outcome is deeply unsatisfactory for residents, particularly given the area's transition into a predominantly residential neighborhood and the clear impact on the quality of life. The Mayor has taken some great steps already about enforcement, for which I'm grateful. Can the Mayor set out what further action the Council can take, including whether alternative powers such as environmental health, licensing, or review of planning status will be used to address this ongoing nuisance and protect residents? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. The Mayor to respond.
I'm hoping Councillor Dasgupta accepts my response, and if there's a supplementary.
Yes, thank you so much, Mayor. I think I'm really grateful that you've spoken about enforcement because what this case reflects is a wider concern that residents have raised in Canning Town South, that enforcement is becoming very difficult, whether in planning or road safety, and they're feeling that they can't get effective remedy. So I've recently again been contacted by a resident named Mr. James Duncan, who has reported dangerous speeding in Silvertown Way and Peto Street North over the last 2 years, again with very little visible enforcement. So I'm just wondering, Mayor, what could we do working with our neighbors, with the police, with our enforcement teams to ensure that timely action is being taken, because people are just not happy with the enforcement right now?
That's a good question. As we roll out in the local... Sorry, Chair, can I respond?
Yes. Sorry, yes, Mayor.
As we roll out in the local neighbourhoods, I'm keen to utilise our dedicated enforcement officers and work with our partners on the ground to highlight hotspot areas that we all need to come together to address those kind of enforcement issues or community safety issues. And I want to do that in partnership with the local police. So I'm looking forward to everyone coming together to do that in each of the neighbourhood areas.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm now moving on to question 6 from Councillor Anand Kumar. Sorry, are you reading the question out? Yes.
Respected Mr. Chair, Mr. Mayor, I raised why cars are removed shortly after giving a PCN, but the answer is not answering my question.
Sorry, Councillor, if this is a supplementary, the Cabinet member's not here to respond, so we can't have supplementary questions on this, I'm afraid. I'm sure if you contact the Cabinet member and the Corporate Director, they can respond, but here we can't have supplementary questions for Councillor Susan Masters. I'm now moving on to question 6, Councillor Tariq Aziz. Is this to read out the question or for a supplementary?
Sorry. Thank you, Chair. My question was to Councillor Susan Master. Can the Cabinet member provide the data for the last 3 years showing the number of vehicles removed, the income generated from the vehicle release fees, and whether the administration intend to review the current approach to the insured residents are not subjective to disproportionate financial penalties?
Thank you, Councillor. And the answer from Susan Masters is as published. I'm now moving on to question 7 from Councillor Zuba Gulumuson. Are you reading your question out? Thank you, Councillor.
Thank you, Chair. Residents have raised concern that there is no clear, independent and accessible route of appeal before enforcement action progress. Will the Cabinet member undertake a review of the Council contract with Kingdom Enforcement and report back on whether improvement can be made to the appeal process to ensure residents receive fair and transparent treatments?
Thank you, Councillor. The answer is as published, so I'm afraid there can't be a supplementary question as Councillor Masters is not here. I'm now moving on to question 8 from Councillor Ilyas Sharif.
I'm happy with the answer.
So that's as published?
Sorry?
The question is as published, is that, or are you reading out the question?
Can the Cabinet member confirm the expected annual cost of the scheme and how it will be funded within the Council budget?
Thank you, Councillor. So the answer is as published, and there can't be a supplementary question. I'm now moving on to question 9. Just a reminder, Council, you can just say as published with the question that's written. You are allowed to read it out, but it might be in the interest of time. Question 9 from Councillor Saeed Naqvi.
Good evening, everybody. I think it is very important that I must read this question because I have been stopped at least by 3 people today on the streets. So while the Cabinet member is not present here. In May, in the mayoral and local elections, the Labour Party promised to restore free bulky waste collections for Newham residents, and it was one of their manifesto pledge. More than 2 months have gone past now, and yet residents are still reporting significant level of fly tipping and dumped bulky waste across the borough. No such policy has been implemented. Can the Cabinet member confirm what progress has been made towards delivering this manifesto commitment and specify the date free bulky waste collection will be implemented. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. The answer is as published. So moving on to question 10 from Councillor Tamzeed Hussain Khan.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, everyone. My question was when the free first car permit is going to be implemented. Please specify the date.
Thank you, Councillor. The question is, the answer is as published. So I'm now moving on to question 11 from Councillor Mohammed Majid.
Good evening, everybody. My question is that residents have consistently raised concerns about the drug dealings and consumption in the London Borough of Newham. This is an ongoing issue that is negatively affecting our area, family, friends, neighbors, and the younger generation. The situation is becoming worse and more damaging, especially for our children, who are our future. I'm asking the question to Mayor and the Cabinet members. What are you doing to deal with the concerning issues, mainly around increasing police, neighborhood officers, to tackle these issues? Do we have any plans?
Thank you, Councillor. To the Mayor to respond.
So my response is as published, but happy to take a supplementary.
Thank you, Mayor. Councillor, do you have a supplementary question? That's okay. You have the opportunity to ask a question following up on the answer that you've been given in writing, but if you don't wish to take that, that's fine. Okay, thank you, Councillor. We'll now move on to question 12 from Councillor Nizam Ali. As published, which means the answer is as published. Do you have a supplementary? Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Sahira Begum is not here, so we'll move on to question 14 from Councillor Tahir Mirza. Thank you, Councillor. So I'll now move on to question 15 from Councillor Shahima Nasreen. You'd like to read out your question?
Thank you. My question is, fly tipping continues to have a negative impact on our streets and public spaces, as well as residents' confidence in local enforcement. Residents regularly express frustration about the amount of waste being dumped and the perception that enforcement is not always visible or strong enough to deter repeat offenders. I would like to highlight an approach used by Redbridge Council, which operates a public-facing Wall of Shame page. This initiative publishes CCTV images of suspected fly tipping incidents and invite members of the public to help identify those responsible. Where enforcement action leads to prosecution, offenders' details are also published. Harrow Council has introduced similar measures. This initiative appeared to strengthen deterrence and encourage community involvement in tackling environmental crime. Given the success of this scheme elsewhere, would the Mayor explore whether a similar Wall of Shame approach could be introduced in Newham alongside existing enforcement measures? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. The question is to Councillor Susan Masters, who's not here, so the answer is as published. And we'll now move on to question 16 from Councillor Idris Ibrahim. Would you like to read out your question?
Thank you, Chair. My question was around the unplanned and unauthorised events around Green Street. The Mayor will be familiar with the area. A lot of his campaigning was done in that area during the election.
Councillor, can I ask you to keep...
Given the recurring concerns around health and safety, illegal trading, lack of enforcement and significant mess left for residents, what is the Council's comprehensive plan to address these issues and prevent the same problems from occurring on future unauthorised event days on Green Street?
Thank you, Councillor. That's to the Mayor to respond.
So we've got the published response there, but happy to take a supplementary, Councillor Ibrahim.
Councillor, is there a supplementary question?
Yeah, the supplementary would be in the answer. I mean, the published response, I feel, is a bit misleading, simply because within it it says it's an informal kind of approach to avoid community tensions. Now, I'm a bit confused. Are we, as a council, now compromising health and safety over community tensions? I'll reach out to the mayor and the lead member to engage with us as ward councillors within that area and have a proper conversation about how we move this forward.
Thank you, Councillor. Mayor?
Yeah, I agree, Councillor Ibrahim. I mean, when we roll out to the community neighbourhoods, the lead councillor will be happy to sit down with the local councillors to talk about Green Street and the development of the area, including the public realm. As I said during my campaign, I'm keen for Green Street to become an international destination, but we can only do that together with local residents and local businesses. So happy to sit down to have that conversation.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Councillor. I'm now moving on to question 17 from Councillor Abdul Halim. Would you like to read out your question, Councillor?
Thank you, Chair, and good evening, everyone. My question is, can the Cabinet member explain the Council's policy where an enforcement officer alleges that an individual has dropped litters and based on body-worn camera footage or the recordings, and confirm where residents are entitled to view that evidence when request to before any enforcement action or fixed penalty notice is issued? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. The question is to Councillor Susan Masters, so the answer is as published. So I'm now moving on to question 18 from Councillor Romana Liza. Would you like to read out your question? Thank you, Councillor.
Thank you, Chair. My question is, many residents in Green Street West are concerned and struggling with overcrowded homes and poor housing conditions. What is the Council doing to identify overcrowded and unlicensed properties and ensuring landlords are following the rules and tenants are properly protected?
Thank you, Councillor.
Thank you.
Councillor Gray to respond. Thank you. Councillor, do you have a supplementary question for the Cabinet member? Okay, great. Thank you. We're now moving on to question 19 from Councillor Kasim Yassin. Would you like to... the question is as published, so the answer is also as published. Do you have a supplementary question, Councillor? Thank you, Councillor. So we're now moving on to question 20 from Councillor Abaid Khan. Would you like to read out your question, Councillor?
Thank you, Chair. I've never seen this fast question answers in my life before, but I think Susan Masters contributing to it. My question is, Balaam Leisure Centre site has remained closed for several years now with no clear delivery timetable. Residents are highly demanding a full and unequivocal update on the site, including redevelopment plans, timelines, and delivery milestones. I have also received highly concerning reports that the site was occupied by squatters for a prolonged period and operated as a commercial club generating income through the unauthorized use of a public asset. What is the Council's current financial exposure related to the site, including incurred costs, lost income, maintenance costs, security costs, and other related costs since the site was closed down until this date?
Thank you, Councillor. To Councillor Ali to respond. As the answers as published. Do you have a supplementary question,
I have
Councillor?
a supplementary to it, and thank you for the published answer, but the response still fails to explain how a council-owned asset could remain effectively unsecured for years, and, if the reports are accurate, be used for unauthorized commercial activity without timely intervention. This points to a serious breakdown in governance, oversight, and asset management. Can the Cabinet Member, Zulfikar Ali, confirm whether this matter has been formally referred to internal audit, and whether any findings in accountability, control failures, or financial exposure have been produced? If not, will they commit today to referring this matter to the appropriate Overview and Scrutiny Committee for full investigation?
Councillor, it's one supplementary question, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
So you're at two so far.
Okay, just last line. Yeah.
What-
Finally, what assurance can they give to residents that this is an
That's
isolated
the third
failure?
question, Councillor. So which one would you like answered?
Well,
one supplementary question.
okay.
It's a difficult
The second
choice.
one.
I'll let the councillor...
The second one, yeah,
okay.
the second, governance, oversight, and asset management.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Ali to respond.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Councillor Ubaid Khan, for that detailed question. And the response is in the tabled response that we provided. And clearly, this is a site which was very well used previously, and unfortunately, because of health and safety reasons, we had to close it because the swimming pool had serious issues, and as a result, we closed it. But we have diverted all the facilities and services to other areas. Largely, most have been diverted to other nearby layer facilities across the council. The site has been under investigation in terms of what we should do in future. Clearly, we had to man it or secure it, and security costs have already been outlined in the draft answer. But the latest, the squatters issue, certainly that was very speedily acted upon, and we removed them very quickly. But I'm unaware of any drug issues that Councillor Khan has raised, and certainly if you have any evidence, please do let me know. But at the same time, I will ask officers to look into that. But we are looking at different options for that site. Various officers from different departments are working together in order to come up with a plan, and that plan will be produced and be presented to the council in due course. But if you have anything that you can provide me with respect to any evidence that you have seen, because certainly that is not something that I'm aware of, but it is something that is very close to my heart, to be honest, because it was part of my ward previously, and I was very actively engaged in the process to make sure that we do something about this, and that's currently what we're doing to make sure that we put a better use to it, reduce the security costs, reduce ongoing costs, and put it to effective use, and that's something we'll bring back to you in future. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor. We're now moving to question 21 from Councillor Maniba Khan. You're saying it's not been published? Sorry, Councillor. It is in the supplementary agenda that's been published. So it's not. My apologies. Can we have a look at that and get back to the council with the question in writing, the answer in writing? The answer would be from Susan Masters, so there wouldn't be a chance for supplementary anyway, but I can only apologize that it's not included. I got confused because it's on the list, but you're right, the answer's not there. The next question is from Councillor Ali Rahman, who is not here, so we'll move on to question 23 from Councillor Danny Keeling. Would you like to read out your question? And I'd like to remind Council we're at 5 minutes remaining on this item.
Lovely.
Councillor.
So this is the third time I've asked this question to an administration. It's a shame that we're starting off with no opposition questions being answered as published.
Thank you, Councillor. The question is to the Mayor to respond. It's on here, it says to the Mayor to respond.
Councillor Keeling, happy to take a supplementary. I do feel passionate about this around the Greenway, and we have engaged, and we're going to do further work in working with Thames Water on how we can reduce the programme.
Is there a supplementary question, Councillor?
Thank you for the response, Mr. Mayor. As I said, this has been the third time I've asked for this. 3 times before the previous administration. Would this administration meet with myself, the ward councillors of the area, with Cadent and Thames Water to stop the current blockages that are currently stopping safe cycling and access to the local mosque within that area, reopening the Greenway, and also the blockages on Abbey Lane Bridge?
Thank you, Councillor. To the Mayor to respond.
Yeah, so Councillor Keeling, I have met with Thames Water on site and seen the works, and I've actually asked them to invite local councillors and stakeholders to come and understand what's going on, and I have been shown the programme, and I will be writing a letter to the Chief Executive of Thames Water, and I will not let this one go. I will keep working with local councillors and MPs to see how we can reduce that programme and open that Greenway as soon as possible, because I miss cycling from Plaistow to Stratford with my family. So I will do everything in my power to work with you to see how we can open up the Greenway as soon as possible. I do feel really passionate about that.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm now moving on to question 24 from Councillor Aderonke Benson to read out her question.
Thanks, Jerry. My question gets to Councillor Susan Masters. Following the consultation with residents regarding the increase of road sleepers beneath the Cannington flyover, could the Cabinet member outline the Council's current approach to managing this issue?
Thank you, Councillor. The answer is as published, as Councillor Masters is not here, so there can't be a supplementary, I'm afraid. So I'm now moving on to question 25 from Councillor Matthew Carlisle. Would you like to read out your question?
Thank you, Chair. I'm Councillor Carlisle, Forest Gate North. Newham has rightly made improving outcomes for black boys a strategic priority. Given the well-established links between unmet special educational needs and later risks, including school exclusion, entering care, contact with the criminal justice system, becoming a victim of serious violence, and poor post-16 outcomes, could the Cabinet member set out how the Council is ensuring that its work to improve outcomes for black boys is informed by evidence on special educational needs and disabilities, including analysis of the prevalence, identification, assessment and support of SEND among black boys compared with other children and young people in Newham, how that evidence is shaping policy and resource allocation, and how the lived experiences of black boys and their families in identifying and accessing SEND support are being used alongside quantitative data to improve services.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Shah to respond. Thank you, Councillor. Is there a supplementary question, Councillor?
Yes, I do have a supplementary question.
We've got 45 seconds.
So, based on the laudably forensic data analysis you've described in your answer, are our black boys more or less likely to be in that group of more than 10% of Newham's children and young people who have not received their education, health and care plans on time?
Councillor Shah to respond, briefly if possible.
Councillor Carlisle, thank you for your question. Maybe you are not aware, I was part of the commission, Black Boys Commission, which went on for 3 years to bring all those recommendations. And for us, the administration, every child, regardless of ethnicity or background, has their needs identified early. So they can receive the adequate care, EHCPs, etc. And at the moment, the SEND reforms are going on, and as it progresses, we will look into quantitative, qualitative data that we have, and then obviously make better life outcomes for Black boys. But at the moment, I don't have that detail on me, but happy to give you a reply later on.
Thank you, Councillor. And with that, I'll have to end as we've run out of our 30 minutes, but we did get through 25 questions, so I think we're doing well there. Thank you, Council. And to the 5 councillors who weren't able to ask your questions, I'm very sorry. The answers are there in writing, and I'm sorry that we weren't able to fit them in this meeting. I'm now moving on to item 15, appointments to outside bodies report. This is outlined on page 51 of your agenda, and I call Mayor Farhad Hussain to move the report.
Thank you, Chair. Happy to move this item, move this report.
That's formally moved. Is there a seconder for this report? Councillor Ali to second. Would you like to speak, Councillor Ali? Formally seconded? Okay. So we now move to the debate. This report is noting. Does any member wish to speak on this report? That looks like no. So with that, the mover of the report, would you like to have your right of last reply on that?
Fine.
So with that, I'll now move to the vote on the recommendations. This is for noting. So all those in favour of the recommendations, please raise your hand. Thank you, Council. All those against, please raise your hand. And any abstentions? That's 1, 2, 3 abstentions. Thank you, Council. So the report's recommendations have been noted with 3 abstentions. So I'm now moving on to item 16, review of the allocation of seats on committees and appointments. The report is outlined from page 61 of the agenda. I move the report formally. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Vice Chair Rohit Dasgupta to second. This report is for noting. We move to the debate. Does any member wish to speak? I'll take that as no. So I will now move to the vote. All those in favour of the recommendations, please raise your hand. Thank you, Council. All those against, please raise your hand. That's 0. And are there any abstentions? I don't see any. So this report's recommendations have been agreed unanimously. I will now move on to item 17, the annual report of the Standards Committee, which is on page 85 of your agenda. And I call the chair of the independent chair of the Standards Committee, William Laurel Antoine, to present the report and its recommendations for up to 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chair, and good evening, Mayor and members. I'm William Laurel Antoine, and as the independent chair of the Standards Committee, I am pleased to introduce the annual report of the committee for the year 2025 and 2026. The Standards Committee performs a number of functions to support members in maintaining high standards of conduct in public life, consistent with the Nolan principles of selflessness, integrity, objectivity, accountability, openness, honesty, and leadership. The report before members provides an overview of the work undertaken by the committee in the 2025-2026 municipal year and looks ahead to the issues the committee will consider in the new municipal year. I invite you to review Appendix A of the report. The report sets out, among other things, the role of the committee and its membership, meeting dates and topics discussed, statistics on the Code of Conduct complaints, Standards Framework Charter, and legal developments. The annual report also outlines the future of the work of the committee for the 2026 and 2027 municipal year. I would like to thank my Deputy Chair, Louis Hugh, who is unable to be here tonight, for his support and contributions to the work of the committee since our appointment was confirmed to the full Council in October of 2025. I would also like to thank the councillor members who served on the committee prior to the council elections of May of 2026, and the councillors currently appointed to the committee, the independent members, the independent persons, and the officers of the council for their work throughout the time I have been in office. The committee will continue its vital work this year and will consider a number of topics, including the Code of Conduct and overseeing Newham's achievement of the LGA's Member Development Charter. And I would like to thank you all for your participation in that process this year. I look forward to dedicating my attention alongside my fellow committee members to our mandate in partnership with the Mayor, our officers, and for the residents of Newham. I would like to thank the Council for the time to consider the report. Chair, I commend the report to the full Council.
Thank you, Chair. This report is for noting, so that is noted. Thank you, and thank you to the work of the entire Standards Committee. I'm now moving on to item 18, member statements. In accordance with Part 4, Rules of Procedure of the Council's Constitution, paragraph 13, I've accepted 2 requests for statements. The first is from Councillor John Morris, and the second is from Councillor Nizam Ali. Each member will be able to speak for 5 minutes, after which there are no questions or debate. So I first call on Councillor John Morris, who will make a statement on the Government and Mayor of London's recent developments on road safety and active travel. You have 5 minutes, Councillor.
Thank you, Chair. When I first submitted my request to speak here today, it was before the tragic events that happened in Green Street that led to several people being taken to the hospital. But a week later, a car smashed into a corner shop in Greenway. A few days after that, a toddler got hit in a Healthy School Street zone during Healthy School Street hours, a scheme specifically designed to prevent that from happening. But also a motorcyclist got hit by a car on a Green Street at the junction of Barking Road. And I still remember the scenes from 2 years ago, back in 2024, when a young girl, 18 years old, lost her life when a car lost control in Greengate. 4 people die on our roads every single day. Someone is killed or injured every 18 minutes. 1,600 people are killed and 28,000 people are seriously injured every year. Chair, Council, this has been endemic and it has been normalised. We would never accept these numbers in any other scenario. We should never accept them in our public space. These aren't statistics, these are real people with real lives, full of potential, with families, friends and loved ones. That is why I welcome both the government's road safety strategy and the Mayor of London's Vision Zero action plan. Both are built on the same foundation, a safe systems approach, that we must stop treating road deaths as a price of getting around, that we must stop putting the blame on the individual who can make mistakes. Human error is inevitable. Death and serious injury are not. So we must design our streets, set our speed limits, regulate our vehicles, and shape our enforcement so that when someone makes a mistake, it does not cost lives. Both the road safety strategy and the Vision Zero action plan show that the Labour Party, both nationally and regionally, are taking road safety seriously. The road safety strategy, the first since 2015, is a response to a lost decade of progress that saw UK used to having the safest roads in Europe fall behind its peers. And it aims for a 65% reduction in people killed or seriously injured by 2035. But it is the Vision Zero action plan, Council. That is the reason why Sadiq Khan deserves to be seen as my political hero. It is courageous, it is ambitious, it is visionary. The aim that no one is seriously killed or seriously hurt by 2041. It does this through a range of policies. 20 miles an hour as a default, 200 more school streets, 1,000 new crossings, more LTNs. Indeed, it complements Newham Council's work on road safety, including a new crossing on Water Lane, healthy school streets, bus priority schemes, a major healthy streets corridor projects, as well as the Royal Docks corridor and the Romford Road Improvement Scheme. And both the road safety strategy and the Vision Zero action plan highlight the threat posed by SUVs, where people walking and cycling are 14% more likely to be killed in a collision with a SUV than in a smaller car. Children are 77% more likely to be killed, and rising to 209% for children under the age of 9. Chair, Council, both the action plan and the strategy are a call to action. The government, the Labour government and the Mayor of London have thrown down the gauntlet. My question to this council is, will Newham Council and all the councillors here rise to the occasion? I call on Newham Council to set its own Vision Zero target. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor. I now call Councillor Nazim Ali, who will make a statement on the services and facilities we had in Newham, what we have now, and what residents want to see from Newham Council going forward. Councillor, you have up to 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, everyone. What we had before in Newham, so we had amazing services. We had facilities, we had youth centres literally within walking distance. We had free bulk waste collection, which is clearly no more. We've had visible policing and numerous different types of community support teams that were there supporting people. That's all gone. What we currently have, it's a joke. It's actually shambles. For years and years of Labour controlling the council, dominating it, we've been left with cuts, cuts and more cuts. We're literally drowning in debt. Millions of pounds of our funding, of our public money is being spent on interests and loans, all which was decided by the Labour Council. Instead of this money should have been spent on residents. It should have been spent on services. What we currently have is poor and awful financial management. You cannot just sit there and just say, we're doing great. No, we're not. We're in debt by billions. Millions of pounds are being spent on interest rates, and services are being cut to literally its bare bones. We've got increasing council tax. How are you increasing council tax year on year when people are suffering, when we're literally in the middle of a cost of living crisis, when Newham Council, when Newham Borough is one of the most deprived boroughs in the whole country, and you want to increase council tax? A couple of years ago it was nearly 10%. Last year it was about 5%. God knows what you want to do this year and next year. So you're literally milking and killing off the working class, those who are struggling and suffering. We also need, what we currently also have is money-making schemes. In every corner, wherever you go, any chance to make money from the residents, we need to put the end to that. Youth centres closed down. I had a couple of youth centres literally within walking distance of my home. Actually, I had 2. Both of them have been closed down. We've got serious poverty in Newham. Nearly 50% of children in Newham are below the poverty rate. How can a London borough that claims to be so wealthy, how can the UK in itself, that's got millions of pounds, they spent years, hundreds of years colonizing and literally looting and robbing the world, and you can't feed children? That is absolutely shocking. That's just poor management by the Labour Party. We've got a housing crisis. I mean, everyone's talking about, oh yeah, we're looking at doing things for the housing and supporting it. A C4 grading for housing. That's the lowest possible grade of housing by the regulator. So residents, you're actually putting them in risk. It's a safety risk. And you think that's okay. Some people haven't had their support for decades, and they're literally just chasing and nothing's happening. You've got high crime rates. It's literally a disaster. Well, a good thing that's happened is the election results. So 7th of May 2026, Labour lost control of the majority. They were absolutely hammered, and well done. I mean, for nearly 60 years, Labour Party have been taking the mick, and finally something has happened. And I'm very proud to announce that 24 Newham independent councillors are now in the council. Moving on to what we actually want and what we need right now. We want and we need a council that actually listens to us, that actually supports residents, and every single decision that they make should be at the heart of that. It's not just about policies and about your own Labour things and whatever you're talking about. We actually need people who care. We need investment into our services, our facilities, our youth centre, our healthcare facilities. We need free bulky waste. We want 2 hours free parking, not 1 hour. We want 2 hours free parking. And we need real action to deal with the housing crisis. Not just empty words and promises, and this will take 5 years to build, and this will take 20 years to build, and this will take 30 years to build. We have parents with 3, 4, 5 children crammed in a one-bedroom home who have been bidding for years, and you think that's acceptable? We need an end of these money-making schemes. We need residents to be listened to, and as a closing statement, it's a request to the administration, but also a warning. Listen to the residents, or you're going to be out. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor. I now move on to item 19, motions. So we have 60 minutes for this item. And I will advise Council that we will need to take an adjournment for prayers at some point during this agenda item. So that will happen at roughly, if you don't mind 1 second, Councillor. So that will happen at roughly 10 past, maybe quarter past, so that people have time to take prayers. Councillor, you have a point of order.
Chair, I would like to propose extend standing order for 30 minutes.
We don't need to do that right now because I'll move that when that becomes necessary. But thank you, Chair. Thank you, Councillor. I'm too used to being on the other side. Right, so there are 5 motions listed for consideration at this meeting, and I'd like to advise Council that there are also 4 amendments that have been published in your supplementary agenda. So there is a Labour Group amendment to motion 2, a Green Group amendment to motion 4, a Labour Group amendment to motion 4, and a Labour Group amendment to motion 5. So they can be seen on pages 3 to 13 of the supplementary agenda. While we have 60 minutes for this item, each motion also has their own time limit, and amendments are included in that time. So if we reach the end of the time limit, I'll move to a vote on any amendments remaining, and then the motion as amended or not amended, as the case may be. So I will call on Simon Rush to propose the motion. You have up to 5 minutes, but bearing in mind this motion has 15 minutes, you may not want to use all 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chair, Chief Exec, Mayor, comrades, members of the public in the room today and obviously on YouTube. I'm proud to move this motion today as a Labour councillor, a proud trade unionist and anti-racist campaigner. Newham is one of the most diverse boroughs in Britain. Our strength comes from the many communities, cultures and faith that call this borough home. We do not merely tolerate diversity in Newham, we celebrate it. And we are stronger because of it. We're also proud to be a borough of sanctuary. That is more than a title, it is a statement of our values, that everyone deserves dignity, respect and the opportunity to belong. But comrades and colleagues, we cannot be complacent. Across London and across the UK, we are witnessing the rise of the far right. Once again, they seek to divide communities, spread fear and turn neighbour against neighbour. They offer no solutions to the real problems facing working people. Only scapegoats, diversion and hatred. Last week, a far-right demonstration was planned against our borough. In the end, they didn't turn up. Perhaps they realise Newham is not a borough that bows to hate. And let's be honest about why Newham is so often in their sights. Newham has shown what the far right fears most, a borough where ethnicity, faith or family background does not determine how far you can go. We have a newly elected Labour mayor with a Bangladeshi heritage, former mayor from Pakistani heritage. It's a borough where diversity is not a weakness to be exploited, but a strength to be celebrated. For those who trade in prejudice and diversion, that makes us a target. For us, it makes us a beacon. This motion calls on us to stand united against that threat. And yes, that means all of us. Labour, the Green Party, Newham Independents, every single member of this chamber. We may disagree on policy, we may disagree on priorities, and sometimes we may disagree rather loudly. But this is bigger than politics. This is bigger than party labels. This is about protecting our communities. Because there can be no disagreement when it comes to opposing racism, extremism, and hatred. Our residents expect leadership, they expect us to stand together, and when it matters, and tonight we have an opportunity to send a clear message. That Newham will always stand against racism, against diversion, against hatred, and against the far right. United as a council, united as a borough, united in defence of our communities, and united against the politics of hate. I commend this motion to the floor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. I call on Councillor Shantu Furdis to second. You have up to 3 minutes.
Good evening, Chair and all colleagues. I'm Councillor Shantu Furdis. The motion is Newham's diversity. I'm seconding the motion. Our party, when you nominate people, we do our best to select candidates from all backgrounds in line with the Equality Act 2010. In Council, we have seen the staff from many ethnicities work here. We have the candidate pools for all backgrounds. When far right spreads conspiracy theories and uses divisive language, they threaten the core of our community. We stand against racist falsehood. No one should damage any place and harm any people. Whether it's about healthcare, housing, or good jobs, we all face similar challenges, and the best way to create a brighter future by supporting one another, not by tearing others. Newham Council holds many diverse community programs such as Christmas parties, Eid parties, Southeast Asian months, and Black History Months. All communities are welcome to join. As a trade unionist, I have always opposed the far right. We must never let them divide our diverse community. Let's work with our officers, all councillors, regardless of our party political positions. And at the end of the day, we say no racism and no fascism. Colleagues, I urge you to support this motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. We now move to the debate on this motion. I'm going to ask all members who wish to speak in this to raise their hand, and then I will take them in a particular order, but I just want to make sure I've got everyone. So I've got Councillor Mirza, so thank you. I've got Councillor Naqvi. Got Councillor Khan. Got Councillor Rahman. Councillor Huck, thank you. Councillor Ali, I've got Councillor Morris. Is there any other member wishing to speak? Okay, we won't get through all of these, but we'll work through them as quickly as we can. Councillor Mirza, you have up to 3 minutes.
Thank you, Chair. Councillor Mirza, leader of the Newham Independence Party. Chair, Newham Independents will support this motion because we stand firmly against racism, hatred, and extremism in all their forms. We are proud of Newham diversity. Protecting it is a responsibility shared by every councillor in this chamber. However, our support comes with reservations. These values do not belong to one political party. Labour cannot claim ownership of the community cohesion or unity. If the administration is serious about the cross-party working, it must involve opposition councillors in decision-making throughout the year, not just ask for the unity when bringing forward a motion. Community cohesion is built through actions, not words. It requires investment in youth services, community organizations, safer neighborhoods, and opportunities that bring people together. We also believe our approach must be consistent. We must stand against racism, Islamophobia, anti-Semitism, anti-Christianism, hatred, and every other form of prejudice, regardless of who is responsible. Finally, while we condemn extremism without hesitation, we must also protect democratic right to peaceful protest. There is a clear distinction between lawful protest and extremism, and we should never blur that line. Chair, we support this motion because its principles are right, but we also ask Labour to match those principles with the genuine collaboration, consistent leadership, and practical actions. That is what our residents expect from all of us. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor. I've got Councillor Khan. Oh, sorry, Councillor Khan.
Thank you, Chair. Mayor, colleagues, and residents. The May 2026 local elections brought a broader range of political views into this chamber. That diversity of representations mirrors the diversity of Newham itself, a borough defined by its communities, cultures, languages, faiths, and life experiences. I want to take a moment to speak from personal experience, because diversity is not just a policy word, it is who we are and it is who I am. My parents and I were born in Pakistan, but our ancestors came from Afghanistan. That journey alone reflects generations of movement, culture, and resilience. My mother tongue is Pashto, so I speak Pashto. I also speak Urdu, English, Punjabi, and Persian. That linguistic diversity is part of my identity, and I am proud of it. And thanks to the recent election campaign, I am delighted to say that I am being now called half Bengali. I can say, Kamanasan, how are you? And in reply, Baluasan, I am fine. And I have learned phrases like Shat Tarik, Shurju Markai, Bordevan. Don't worry, Mr. Mayor. Don't worry, Mr. Mayor, I won't translate that, but I think you know exactly what that means. This is what Newham does. It teaches us, it connects us, it enriches us. Diversity is our strength, and we love it every single day. Let me tell you about my street. On my right, my neighbors are from Philippines. On my left, Bangladeshi family with beautiful children live. Next to them, neighbors from Lithuania. Across from me, it's Margaret. And next to her, neighbors from India. In this room, I'm proud to say, I've got my very good friend from Ecuador and Ireland as well. This is what Newham does, this is what And look, we get along incredibly well. We look
Councillor,
after
you have
each
30
other.
seconds.
We share food, we greet each other, we celebrate each other. This is Newham, the most diverse borough on earth, and I am proud to say that we don't just tolerate each other, we embrace each other. We build community together. We show the world what it means to live side by side, respect, kindness, and joy. This is the Newham I know. This is the Newham I love, and this is the Newham we must protect. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. I can take one more speech, but it won't be a full 3 minutes. But can I call Councillor Rahima Rahman, please? I know, but there's lots of members, and we've had 2 Newham Independence members. I'd like to hear from Councillor Rahima Rahman now. I can give you a minute and a half, Rahima, I'm afraid.
I'll try my best level, Chair. Thank you, Chair. Let me begin by congratulating you, as this is your first council meeting. As a past chair myself, I know how important it is to guide this chamber with fairness, balance, and steady commitment to our residents, and I wish you all the best in your terms. Neeham's greatest strength has always been is the people. We are the borough shaped by the many cultures, many histories, and many journeys with over 300 languages spoken by our residents. This extraordinary diversity gives Neeham resilience, creativity, and pride. Our long-standing commitment to inclusion and the community cohesion is not just something we speak about, it is something we demonstrate every day through our work. Our partnership and the way we support our residents. Following the May local election, this council reflects on the even wider range of voices and experience that border representation strengthens our democracy and ensure that every community in Neeham can see itself reflected the decision we make. It also places a responsibility on all of us across political groups to the work constructively.
Thank you, Councillor. I'm afraid you're out of time.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Rush, I'm looking for you, I can't see you. Councillor Rush? Would you like to say anything as a right of reply before we move to a vote? Okay. Thank you, Councillor. So with that, we'll move to a vote on motion 1. Can I see all hands in favour of this motion? Thank you, Council. Can I see all votes against? Please raise your hands. That's 0. And are there any abstentions, Council? I don't see any. So motion 1 passes unanimously. Congratulations, Councillor. Can I now please call? Oh, I'm just aware of the time. I think we can still do this before we adjourn for prayers. So can I call, please, Councillor Mahmood Mirza to move motion 2? You have up to 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chair. And my fellow councillors, residents, and people watching at home on a YouTube channel. I rise today to move this motion on behalf of Neeham Independence Group. This is not simply about finances, it's about values. It's about whether the London Borough of Neeham is prepared to match its words on human rights and meaningful action. Every one of us in this chamber speak proudly about equality, justice, and standing against discrimination. We commemorate Holocaust Memorial Day, we condemn racism, we speak against the war crimes whenever they occur. But those principles only have meanings if they guide the decisions we make. The motion asks a simple question. Should the pension investment administered by the council invested in the companies linked to grave violation of international law and human rights? I believe the answer is no. The motion is not asking for reckless action. It is asking to the Council to ignore the legal obligation, in fact, explicitly recognize our fiduciary duty to protect the pensions of current and future pensioners, my friend. What is asked for transparency? It's asked for an independent audit, it's asked for disclosure, and it's asked for a clear roadmap. It asks to examine whether our money is invested, whether those investment reflects the values this Council claims to uphold. The motion refers important development in international law, including International Court of Justice. Opinion and finding by United Nations bodies concerning occupied Palestinian territory. It also reflects concern raised by the local residents, pension schemes, members and campaign organizations who believe public money should not be invested in companies implicated in grave violation of international law. Councillors may hold different political views on international affairs, and that is entirely legitimate. But this motion is not asking members to solve international conflicts. It is asking to ensure the public investment and ethical, transparent, and legal responsible. Many public pension funds already consider ethical investment alongside financial preferences. Responsible investment and prudent investment is not mutually exclusive, they go hand in hand. Our residents expect us to spend public money responsibly. They expect us to invest responsibly. And they expect us to lead with integrity. If we believe in human rights, those beliefs should not end with speeches and symbolic statements. They should reflect in how public money should be invested. This motion also asks to work with London CIV so the Newham have investment option that exclude companies complicit in grave violations of international law, while continuing safeguarding the interests of pension members. That is measured, balanced, and responsible approach. History often judge institutions not by what they say, but what they do when they face injustice. Future generation will ask whether public institutions use their influence and responsibility, whether we stood by our principles. Today we have an opportunity to show that Newham commits to human rights. It's more than words. Stand with ethical investment, to stand with transparency, to stand with accountability, and to ensure the investment made in our name reflect the value we proudly promote. Chair, I respectfully commend this motion to the Council and urge members from all parties to support it. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor. I call on Councillor Ibrahim Alom to second. You have up to 3 minutes, but just a reminder, Councillor, we only have 12 minutes to debate this motion and the amendment. You have up to 3 minutes, Councillor.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Chair. Colleagues, profit and ethics are not mutually exclusive, and neither are morality and good governance. Because the question before us tonight is not whether ethics belong in investment. We settled that question long ago. The question before us is where we draw the line. The pension fund does not belong to politicians. It belongs to teaching assistants, the social workers, the librarians, the refuse workers, and the countless others who have spent their entire lives serving this borough. They deserve secure pensions, they deserve strong returns, and they deserve the confidence that their money reflects the values they themselves uphold. Residents and scheme members such as Sajid Iqbal and Zainab Kamal wanted to come here today to ask questions about where their money is invested, and yet both questions were rejected. Other campaigners from Newham Palestine Solidarity Campaign and Newham Votes Palestine, alongside many others across our borough, have raised profound concerns. And I think many of us, regardless of party, understand why. Because behind every headline and every legal opinion are families, communities, lives that cannot be measured on a balance sheet. And thanks to disclosures already made, we know far more today than we did before. That transparency is welcome. But transparency does not end the conversation, it begins it. Because once we know, we must decide. This motion recognizes the findings of the United Nations, the International Court of Justice, and the growing body of legal opinion which tells us that these questions deserve serious scrutiny, and expresses a simple principle, that the pensions of Newham workers should not be used to fund the machinery of war, genocide, and military occupation. As a member of the opposition and as the newly elected chair of the Pensions Committee, I understand both the importance of political conviction and the responsibilities of good stewardship. And as I prepare to chair my first meeting, I do not ask this chamber to leave these questions to one committee or one chair. I ask that we confront them together as one council, because questions of this importance deserve democratic backing. That is why this motion seeks a full examination of our holdings, particularly those linked to the arms trade and to grave violations of international law. It asks for a clear intention to divest from companies involved in human rights abuses, war crimes, and illegal settlements. It requests a report to the Pensions Committee and Cabinet.
You have 30 seconds,
the
Councillor.
legal, financial, and practical considerations involved, alongside a timeline for implementation. Because values matter most when they cost something, and because future generations deserve institutions they can be proud of. History rarely remembers quarterly returns. It remembers the choices. And tonight, colleagues, we have a choice. To say that profit and principle are enemies, or to say that they rise and fall together. I know which side I stand for, and I urge everyone of this chamber
Thank you,
to vote
Councillor.
for the motion.
Thank you, Council. I call on Councillor John Gray to propose his amendment to the motion. Is the amendment accepted, Councillor Mirza? No, it's not. Okay. Councillor John Gray, to propose your amendment. You have up to 3 minutes, but we only have 3 minutes left on this motion, so.
Councillor John Gray, West Ham Ward, speaking in favour of the substantive motion, which we welcome, but with qualifications, and the qualifications are in the amendment to hopefully improve the motion. Just to start off by saying we do share concerns expressed by colleagues in a very collegiate way, I may add, regarding human rights, ethical investment and transparency in how public funds are managed. Residents and pension scheme members have a right to understand how their pension fund is invested, and we support continued scrutiny of those investments. And I'll be there with our new chair as a member of the Pension Committee as well. But we must remember, and it has been mentioned in the proposal and seconders, that we are custodians of the pension fund. We have a fundamental responsibility to our 30,000 Newham workers who are scheme members, already pensioners, and their families. That's why I'm proposing an addition of 2 further resolutions. And the first one is about fiduciary duty. All of you here, all you members, are subject to fiduciary duty. And I know that it is made absolutely clear that people understand that. And the second point is to make sure that whatever we do, and I'm sure people will not want to, we must have no harm to existing and future council pensioners and their families' pensions. That's an important principle. It doesn't mean that we do nothing. It doesn't mean we can't have meaningful change and do positive things with our investments. But what we do want is to protect our pensioners. So, remember, this is not the council's money. This belongs to our workers. As a worker who's got 30 years in the local government pension scheme and who represents local government workers, the biggest union in this country. We have to blend what we want to do with our principles with defending
Councillor, you have 30
workers
seconds.
and workers' pensions. So please support the amendment. Please support the motion as amended. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. We're out of time to debate this amendment and motion, but Councillor Ali, can you formally second this amendment? We don't have time for more speeches, I'm afraid. Thank you. So the amendment's been seconded. Councillor Mirza has indicated that he does not wish to accept the amendment. Councillor Mirza, if you're able to say in a sentence a right of reply on this amendment, I can let you do that, but we don't have very much time at all. Okay, so we're now moving to a vote on Councillor Gray's amendment to this motion. Can all those in favour of the amendment please raise their hands? Can I ask the public to please refrain from making such statements, please? Thank you, Council. Can all those against the amendment please raise their hands? Thank you, Council. And are there any abstentions? So there are no abstentions. One moment, Council. Thank you, Council. So that amendment has not been carried, and therefore we'll move to the vote on the original amendment. Sorry, on the original motion. Can all those in favour of the motion please raise their hands? All those in favour of the unamended motion please raise their hands. Thank you, Council. And can you lower your hands? All those against, please raise their hands. And are there any abstentions? There are none, so therefore that motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Thank you, Council. Thank you, Council. I'm now going to adjourn this meeting for 10 minutes to allow for members to take part in prayers, and we'll return at 26 past. Thank you, Council. the water? I'm fine.
I'm okay with that.
Oh, I was. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Council. We're now going to resume the meeting. We're continuing with motion 3. Can I ask the proposer, Councillor Joe Hudson-Small, to propose their motion? You have up to 5 minutes, and we have 10 minutes on total on this motion. Thank you, Councillor.
Thank you, Chair, and good evening again, Council. At our last meeting, we talked a lot about the need to work with each other and across parties in the interests of all of our residents. And we also know that 4 years ago, Newham elected its first Green councillors and the first opposition that the council had seen in 16 years. And back then, we recognised that moment and that call from residents to hear more than one voice in the room. And a cross-party motion was passed in 2022, all those years ago, calling for fair votes in Newham, including electoral reform and votes at 16. Now, of course, since the local elections this year, the council has changed even more and maybe is even more divided. But as we speak today, the promised representation of the people bill is finally making its way through Parliament and is going to bring some of the changes that we've all called for, including votes at 16. Now, sadly, what has not been included is any commitment to proportional representation, electoral reform to ensure that every vote counts and residents' votes are neither wasted or ignored. It's shocking when you learn that more than 70% of the votes cast at the last general election made no real difference to the outcome. That's thanks to first past the post. Only the UK and Russia's puppet, Belarus, are the only European countries still using it. And even some states in the United States are starting to adopt ranked choice voting on a case-by-case basis to let people express their real views. So this motion today calls on the Council to write to our 3 Newham MPs, asking them to support Alex Sobel MP's amendment to that representation of the people bill. That's going to create a national commission to investigate and deliver electoral reform. This is a cross-party amendment written by a Labour MP and backed by more than 100 Labour, Green, Liberal and other MPs. Originally, the timing couldn't be better. It was set to be debated tomorrow, although we learned earlier today it's going to be pushed back to September. But the reason for that is to give time for the incoming Burnham government to make their own tweaks. And we all know, or hopefully we all know, Andy Burnham supports electoral reform and proportional representation. It's Keir Starmer and his allies that have been the roadblock so far. Several years ago, Labour members voted at their conference to support proportional representation, but we haven't seen it in this bill. But we will be seeing it in Alex Sobel's amendment. So I ask everyone on this council now, in the spirit of cooperation, to turn the page on Starmer's failed premiership, on his opposition to proportional representation, and to restate what we've all stated before, our support for electoral reform, for a voting system that listens to residents and makes their votes count. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. I call upon Councillor Huang to second the motion. You have up to 3 minutes.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, members of the public and of the Council. I'm Che Ho Huang, Councillor for Stratford, and as this is my maiden speech, I will quickly pay tribute to my predecessors, but most of all, I'd like to thank the people of Stratford for putting their trust in me. I hope I can help uplift and uphold our communities and values. Members, I want to clarify what Alex Sobel's amendment is about. It is to establish a national commission to review what we currently use for general elections and to make recommendations for reform. It does not, at this point, commit our support to any specific changes. Why is this needed? There comes a time when people get tired of feeling humiliated, trying to survive despite best efforts. To this, we offer democracy as a vehicle of expression, but a solitary cross in a box cannot be the complete answer for how anybody can feel. Perhaps there are different democratic methods which will allow the electorate to state their preferences more clearly. On democracy, Martin Luther King said it is our deep-seated belief that thin paper transforms to thick action. Let us support the paper to be fairer, more representative, and sustain public confidence. From this, we can expect better action. Members, vote for motion 3 and show our willingness to be ahead on reform. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Just before I move into the debate for this meeting, I believe Councillor Mirza, you had a procedural motion to extend the meeting. Would you like to move that now? Yes, is there a seconder for that motion? I saw Councillor Hudson-Small first, so that's seconded. Can all those in favour of extending the meeting by half an hour please raise their hands? All those against? I don't see any. Are there any abstentions? That's none, so that's carried unanimously. I believe that means the meeting, as we have had 2 adjournments, will now end at... Sorry, we've had 1 adjournment and we started 10 minutes late. Will now end at 20 past 10. So with that, we now enter the debate for this motion. Can I see all those who would like to speak on this motion raise their hands? I've got Councillor Idris Ibrahim. Are there any other members who would like to speak? Okay, Councillor Ibrahim, you have up to 3 minutes.
Thank you, Chair. Members of the public, Councillor Idris Ibrahim, Green Street West Ward. Rising to support this motion, but with caution. We debated the motion as a group and we were discussing the merits of this whole change of system. Proportional representation is definitely a debate that needs to be opened up. It's something different from what we're used to. And we fully appreciate that the Green Party would have had 44 councillors in 2024 instead of 4. But alongside that, the Reform Party would have 94 members of Parliament, with the return of their vote. So, looking at those numbers, it's clear that it will open the door for other opposition parties that don't have the best interest of the communities at heart. But I think it is important, and we've discussed it, and we think that it's the right motion in terms of supporting. We think the debate needs to be opened. We feel that this is something now, obviously, as the major parties are losing power, the smaller parties definitely need to be more active in, and we definitely are in favour of this. As an independent councillor, I believe democracy works best when every resident feels that their voice matters and their voice and their vote genuinely counts. The current system can leave many people feeling that their vote does not translate into representation, creating a sense of that community are not fully heard. Proportional representation would help create fairer systems. And in doing so, we support. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Is there any other member wishing to speak on this? Otherwise, Councillor Hudson-Small, you have the right of last reply to this motion, and that has been waived. So I'll now move to the vote on motion 3. All those in favour, please raise your hands. Thank you, Council. All those against, please raise your hands. That's 0. 0. Are there any abstentions? So that's 0. So that motion has carried unanimously. Congratulations, Councillor. We now move to motion 4, which I believe is proposed by Councillor Sophia Nakfi. You have up to 5 minutes to propose your motion. And this motion has 10 minutes overall, including the 2 amendments.
Chair, I am pleased to move this motion today because it is about one of the most important responsibilities we have as a council, investing in the future of children. Across Newham, thousands of families continue to face the pressures of the cost of living. Parents are working hard, yet many are still forced to make impossible choices. No child should arrive at school hungry because their family cannot afford a nutritious meal. We know the evidence. Children who eat well achieve more. They concentrate better in class. Their attendance improves. Their physical and mental health improve. They are more likely to reach their full potential. This is not simply about providing lunch. It is about giving every young person an equal opportunity to succeed. Newham has one of the highest levels of child poverty in the country. If any borough understands the challenges families face, it is ours. That is why we should also be one of the most ambitious when it comes to supporting our children. This motion is practical and responsible. It does not ask the council to introduce a new scheme tomorrow. It asks the mayor and the cabinet to carry out a full assessment, explore funding options, work with schools and bring back a detailed plan. Surely, understanding what is impossible is something every member of this chamber can support. We have also seen that ambition is achievable. Tower Hamlets has already introduced a universal free school meals for secondary school pupils. They recognise that investing in children is one of the smartest investments a council can make. If they can show that ambition for their young people, why shouldn't Newham and show the same ambition of ours? Every child deserves the chance to learn without the distraction of hunger. Every parent deserves to know their child will receive a healthy meal during the school day. Every pound invested in our children today is an investment in better education outcomes, better health and stronger communities tomorrow. Politics is often about choices. Today, we have a choice. We can say that supporting our young people is a priority, or we can prove it. I hope colleagues from every political group will join me in supporting this motion. This is not about party politics. It is about our children, our future, and the kind of borough we want Newham to be. I formally move the motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. I now call Councillor Mohammed Majid to second the motion. You have up to 3 minutes.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, everybody, councillors, members, and the people watching online. I'm a councillor from Warland Ward. I would like to thank you, my leadership, that they have given me this opportunity to speak on this very important issue. Tonight, we're not just discussing school meals, we are discussing opportunity. We are discussing the future of our children. The motion is about making sure every secondary school, people in Newham has access to a healthy meal every school day, without stigma, without embarrassment, and without any barriers. Chair, across all the faiths and culture in the world, one message is clear. Feeding those in need is an act of compassion and responsibility. And the Holy Quran says, and they give food despite their love for it to the poor, the orphans, and the captive. Jesus declares that feeding the hungry and caring for the vulnerable is the same as caring for him directly. In Bible, in Matthew chapter 25, verses 35 to 40 says, "For I was hungry and you gave me something to eat. Whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me." This teaching reminds us that caring for others is not only kindness, it is our duty. Chair, the reality in Newham is difficult. Around 1 in every 2 children in our borough is living in poverty after housing crisis. Children at school are distracted and unable to focus, not because they lack ability, but because they are hungry in schools. Chair, a hungry child cannot learn at their best and cannot achieve their full potential. And while we ask our young people to focus, succeed, and dream big, some are doing so on an empty stomach. That cannot be acceptable. Universal free school meals for secondary pupils are not a luxury, they are an investment. Investment in education, health, equality, and the most important, an investment in the future of Newham. Chair, there is another important benefit. Universal meals remove stigma. When everyone eats together, nobody is labeled. Nobody feels different. Every child is treated with dignity and respect. We have seen this approach next door to our hamlet. If they can take this step for the young people, Newham should have the ambition to explore doing the same.
You have 30 seconds, Councillor.
Some may ask, can we afford it? But the question we should ask is, can we afford not to? Chair, the motion is a responsible first step, and we have to take it. Let us show ambition, let us show leadership, and let us show our young people that we believe in them enough to invest in them. I respectfully ask all my fellow councillors to support this motion. Newham deserves better, our children deserve better. Chair,
thank you, Councillor.
Will we choose to invest in your
Councillor.
youth?
Thank
We
you.
will let
Councillor, your time
through
is
the
up.
cracks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor. I now call Councillor Tilbury to propose their amendment to this motion. You have up to 3 minutes.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, colleagues. And thank you especially to the two councillors who proposed this crucial motion. I come not to oppose it, but to strengthen it, because the future of our children is crucial to all of us here. They will be our future community champions, our future social workers, our future doctors, our nurses, and, as many in this room, our future councillors. The members of Youth Parliament who attended today, I'm sure, would agree with me that prioritising our children's future is the first duty of any council, because any council that grinds the seed grain of their people will not be a council for much longer, for they will have lost the moral authority on which their trust of their communities rests. Why then do I speak for this amendment? I say because a child who goes to school hungry is unable to engage with their education, is unable to grow into a citizen who is able and capable of making the contributions to society that they would like, and is unable to live in the dignified manner that they deserve. I believe that this motion should go further than it currently does, that we should not merely resolve to believe that it is the right thing to do, to provide free secondary school meals for children, as indeed was in the manifesto commitment of every party at the most recent election, because actions are more important than promises. I say that Council today should resolve, as I have suggested, not merely to support this motion, but to say that we shall not pass any budget which either decreases the revenues of the council or increases the costs through introducing new schemes until such a time as we have guaranteed our children the food that they need. Because this should be the highest priority of Newham Council, and we should make it clear that we will not be passing schemes until we have committed to our children's future. I commend this motion to Council and this amendment. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Tilbury. Councillor Hudson-Smart, you have the right to second this. Could I ask you to do it formally, because we're running out of time? So that's formally seconded. Councillor Naqvi, do you accept this amendment? No. Would you like to have a response to this amendment, or are you happy for it to move to a vote? Okay, so is there any other member who'd like to speak on the debate of this? This is for the amendment. Okay, so we'll now move to the vote on Councillor Tilbury and Councillor Hudson-Small's amendment to this motion. Can all those in favour of the amendment please raise their hands? Okay, thank you. And all those against the amendment, please raise your hands. Thank you, Council. And any abstentions? Thank you, Council. So that amendment falls with 15 votes for, 19 against and 22 abstentions. So that amendment has not carried. We'll now move on to the amendment, which I believe is from Councillor O'Doy. We don't actually have any time for speeches on this. We've run out of time. I'm really sorry. The rules are actually really strict on this, so I don't have any latitude to give us more, which means could you propose it formally to allow us to vote on it?
I formally propose the Labour amendment.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Rush, can you formally second it? Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Naqvi, is the amendment accepted? Thank you, Councillor. One moment, Councillor. I understand that. We don't have the... Councillor, I'm very sorry. Councillor, I'm very sorry. That wouldn't. We don't have time under the rules. I can't accept any further speeches on this. I think the Audit and Governance Committee are responsible for reviewing the Constitution. So if you have feelings, please do raise them with that committee. So therefore, I need to move this amendment to a vote. This is the amendment in the name of Councillor O'Doy and Councillor Rush from the Labour Group. Can all those in favour of the amendment please raise your hands? Thank you, Council. And all those against the amendment, please raise your hands. Thank you, Council. And are there any abstentions on this amendment? I don't see any. So that amendment is lost with 23 votes for and 41 votes against and 0 abstentions. So that amendment has not carried. Therefore, we now move on to the vote on the motion, the substantive motion unamended. Sorry? Councillor, yeah, this is the vote on the motion with no amendments. We don't have any time for a right of reply, I'm afraid, so we'll have to move to the vote. All those in favour of Councillor Naqvi's motion unamended, please raise your hands. This is for, if you're voting for Councillor Naqvi's motion, unamended. Thank you, Council. All those against the motion, unamended motion, please raise your hands. I don't see any. And are there any abstentions on the motion? Thank you, Council. That motion has carried with 24 abstentions. Congratulations, Councillor. Thank you. We're now moving on to motion 5. There are 7 minutes for this motion. This motion is proposed by Councillor Tilbury, and there is one amendment. Councillor Dasgupta has asked me to note that they have had to leave, so just note their apologies for having to leave. But can I call the proposer of this motion, Councillor Tilbury? You have up to 5 minutes, but we only have 7 minutes remaining on motion, so keep that in mind.
Thank you, Chair. I will endeavour to be brief. I would also like to note that as part of moving this motion, I'm also altering it in line with some of the feedback received from Councillor Gray. I have sent that alteration to all members of the Chamber and hope that they consider it in the light that it is meant. I would also like to express my gratitude to the Vice Chair, Councillor Rohit Dasgupta, for his wonderful words at the beginning of this council, and my regret that himself and other Labour colleagues seem unable to stand being in the chamber whilst this motion is debated. I think Councillor Rohit Dasgupta was right when earlier today he said that the Labour movement is strongest when it sides with the marginalised and vulnerable in society. Which is why it is so disappointing that 10 miles west of here, his own party in Westminster is trying to pass new and fresh guidance to assault the rights and dignity of that most marginalised group, the trans community, who have always called Newham home and who have always deserved the dignity that they have enjoyed up until this point, until the EHRC guidance decided on a whim that it wished to change. We say that this is not right, it is not proper, and it is not in line with the Labour commitments that members of this chamber should be able to stand behind. For shame, I say, that members of the party cannot even sit inside this room whilst we debate the motion that should matter to them as upholders of those marginalised communities, are not willing to stay here and be able to be answerable to the communities who elected them and who supported them. And I say worse than that, for shame to all the members who sit here and are intending to vote against this motion that they know is right because they cannot abide the thought of speaking against their leadership, who in a scant week will no longer be in power in national government. For shame, I say. But this motion goes beyond the trans community, because an assault on the rights and dignity of any one group always ends up assaulting the rights and dignity of every group. This is clear in the access to toilets that exist inside Newham. I have heard over the past months countless times from residents who are old, young, ill, disabled, or care for those people within their communities. In other words, every single member of our community, how crucial it is to their own personal dignity to be able to have access to a clean, accessible toilet at the time that they need it. And I think that it is a disgrace that we as a council are unable to provide the funding and facilities that our residents need and our residents deserve. Even if you do not agree, as you should, that supporting our marginalised communities are important, passing policies or refusing to pass policies purely to hurt groups that you dislike will also always and inevitably hurt those who you would otherwise wish to support. I believe that council should today, instead of siding with bigotry and backwards thinking, commit to a more inclusive, accessible path forward and commit to providing the infrastructure that the residents of Newham need and deserve. I commend this motion to council. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. I now call on, I believe, is it Councillor Carlile to second this motion?
Chair, I'm pleased to second this motion. This debate is about something incredibly simple. Everyone in Newham should be able to go about their daily lives with dignity. Access to clean, safe and accessible toilets is not a luxury, it is a basic necessity. All this chat about pride and fairness and openness and inclusion and diversity in Newham, and that Stonewall badging on our agenda and other documents and people wearing rainbow lanyards means absolutely nothing. Nothing if it's just mere words. If we can't put in the infrastructure to back what we're saying. Importantly, this motion does not ask us to choose between protecting one group or another. We can improve facilities, increase provision, and create spaces that are safe, dignified, and accessible for everyone. Inclusion is not a zero-sum game. For many people, a lack of toilet facilities isn't just a small inconvenience. It can determine whether they feel able to leave their home at all, older people, disabled people, parents with young children, carers, people with medical conditions, and many others are disproportionately affected by this. And over the year, we've seen way too many public toilets disappear from our borough. Residents have told us over and over again that this is a real problem, and if we want vibrant town centres, thriving high streets, and welcoming public spaces, we have to provide that infrastructure that makes them usable for everyone. This motion recognises that accessibility must mean accessibility for all. Our public facilities should be designed to include, not exclude. And we've heard tonight about how Newham is proud of its diversity, and we've consistently stood against discrimination in all its forms. Reaffirming our support for trans, non-binary and gender diverse residents is entirely consistent with those values. I haven't met one person of faith who would agree that bullying and stigma is okay. The practical measures proposed, reviewing toilet provision across the borough, improving signage, working with local businesses,
Councillor, you have 30 seconds.
and expanding access to gender-neutral facilities are sensible, achievable. They're steps which will benefit residents and visitors alike. And at its heart, this motion is about equality, dignity, and common sense. So I'm proud to second this motion, and I urge members to support it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. We now need to turn to the amendment, but we are actually out of time for this agenda item as a whole, as motions. We've been doing it for an hour. Yeah, what's the point of order?
Look, I'm thankful for the amendment on the amendment, which was sent over not very long ago. I think we're really nearly there. But what I would formally ask for this to be deferred for further discussion and come back to the next meeting is really important. And it is, we need to consult with group as well about this amendment. I can't just take that responsibility. And as I say, we're nearly there, and I think we could get something really, really good in that. So my point of order is to defer this motion.
Thank you, Councillor. If you just give us a moment. Thank you, Council. We would leave it till the very last agenda item to have a complex decision, wouldn't we? So Councillor Gray has raised a point of order asking for this to be deferred. So Councillor Tilbury, are you willing to defer this motion? Okay, so the procedure that we're now under is the guillotine procedure, which does allow council to defer items. So if council would like to defer, we can vote on considering that matter. So the first vote that we're actually taking is on whether to defer the motion or not. And then we will go through the amendment, if not, and the motion and so on. So the first vote that I'd like to see hands in favour of is whether to defer Councillor Tilbury's motion to the next meeting. Oh, sorry, that needs to be, wait, no, it doesn't. Sorry, yes, all votes in favour of deferring. Thank you. That's 44 for. All those against, please raise your hands. And are there any abstentions? Were there any abstentions? Sorry, I didn't. Where? Yeah, I think there are no abstentions. So therefore, that motion is deferred to the next meeting. And with that, it is, yes, but I'm just looking for what I'm supposed to say to end the meeting. Thank you. I now move to item 20, conclusion of business. Just a final reminder to members to ensure they have signed the attendance book. I still need to do that, so I'm sure there are other members that do. And that's held at the Democratic Services Desk. Our next meeting will be on Monday, the 5th of October, 2026. This being the last meeting before the summer recess, I would like to wish everyone an enjoyable summer. Thank you to all the officers who helped us run tonight's meeting, and thank you to everyone attending and watching. I now declare that this meeting is closed.